A mother learned her disabled daughter was pregnant. Then she opened her husband's laptop. The call came while the house was quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses against your ears until you hear your own thoughts breathing. "Mrs. Hale," the voice said, clinical, measured. "We need you to come in." I was already standing when she said it. My body knew before my mind did that something had cracked. At the clinic, my daughter sat with her hands folded in her lap, rocking slightly, her eyes fixed on the floor, the way she always did when the world moved too fast for her. The doctor spoke gently, words arranged to soften the blow. "Your daughter is pregnant." The room tilted. I stared at the whiteboard behind him, a smiley sun drawn in blue marker. Someone had written, "Have a great day," beneath it. My throat locked. My pulse slowed into something dangerous and deliberate. "That's not possible," I said. He didn't argue. He just slid a folder across the desk. Dates, numbers, certainty. I turned to my daughter. Her fingers twisted the hem of her sweater. She didn't look up, didn't speak. She never could explain things the way others did. Language had always been a locked door for her. "Who?" I asked, even as I already knew the answer wouldn't come. She shook her head once. "No," or "I don't know," or "I'm scared." On the drive home, my phone buzzed. A message from my husband. "Running late, don't wait up." I stared at the words until they lost meaning. When I pulled into the driveway, the porch light was on. He always left it on for us. That night, after my daughter fell asleep clutching her stuffed rabbit, I stood in our bedroom and listened to my husband shower. The water ran. I watched his laptop on the desk, closed, silent, waiting. I didn't open it that night. That was the first lie I told myself. I told myself I needed time, evidence, control. I told myself I was being a good wife by not jumping to conclusions. The truth was uglier. I was afraid of what I might find. In the days that followed, the house became a stage set. We moved through our routines like actors who'd forgotten the script but kept smiling anyway. My husband kissed my cheek in the mornings, asked about work, about dinner, about my daughter, always my daughter. Did she eat? Did she sleep okay? Is she feeling better? His concern felt rehearsed, precise, too careful. At night, I lay beside him and counted his breaths, slow, even, untroubled. Mine were shallow, controlled. I watched my daughter more closely. She flinched when he entered a room, not dramatically, just a pause, a tightening around the eyes. I remembered things I had dismissed before, how he insisted on helping her shower when she was younger, how he volunteered to drive her to therapy alone, how he grew irritated when I suggested outside help. "She's family," he'd said. "She needs us. She needs me," he'd meant. The pregnancy sat between us like a loaded weapon. I scheduled tests, asked careful questions, learned how to listen to silence. The dates narrowed. The window of conception overlapped perfectly with the nights I worked late, the nights he stayed home. I never accused, never cried. I smiled, I cooked, I watched, and slowly a truth took shape, sharp and unbearable. The betrayal wasn't sudden, it was systematic, planned. I waited for the right moment. Control is a muscle. You have to keep it tight. One afternoon, my husband left his laptop on the kitchen counter when he went to shower, a rare mistake, carelessness born of years without consequence. I wiped my hands on a towel and sat. The screen was still warm, password protected. Of course it was. I tried nothing obvious. Birthdays, names, dates. Then I remembered something small, insignificant at the time, a phrase he used when calming my daughter, "You're safe." I typed it. The screen unlocked. My heartbeat didn't change. That scared me. Folders lined the desktop, ordinary names, work, finances, photos, and one buried among them, private. I opened it. The contents were neatly organized. disturbingly so. Schedules, logs, medical articles, notes, not pictures, not videos, something worse. Documentation, records of appointments I didn't know about, medications she'd never been prescribed, observations written in his voice, clinical, detached. She responds better when isolated. Trust is established through routine. Compliance improves with reassurance. I read until my vision blurred. This wasn't impulse. This was control disguised as care. I closed the folder and sat back. The house hummed around me. The refrigerator clicked on. A car passed outside. I copied everything onto a drive I'd bought that morning, slid it into my pocket, then shut the laptop. When my husband came downstairs, towel around his waist, I smiled. "Dinner will be ready soon," said. He smiled back. Neither of us blinked. The results came 3 days later, not from a lab, from a lawyer. I had moved quietly, efficiently, the way women do when they know screaming will only alert the enemy. The evidence spoke for itself, the timeline, the documentation, the pattern. I didn't confront him immediately. I invited him to sit. I placed the flash drive on the table between us. "What's this?" he asked. I slid a printed page across instead, one of his notes. He read it once. Then again, the color drained from his face. "You went through my things," he said. I watched his hands shake. "Explain," I said softly. He opened his mouth, closed it. I waited. The silence grew heavy, suffocating. Finally, he whispered my name, as if that might save him, as if intimacy could undo calculation. "You knew," he said. "I suspected," I corrected. He broke then, not loudly, not dramatically. His shoulders sagged, his eyes filled. He reached for me. I didn't move. "You destroyed her," I said. He shook his head violently. "I protected her." I stood. "You exploited her trust," I said, "and you hid behind my love." He slid from the chair to the floor. I felt nothing. The police came the next morning. I had already packed a bag for my daughter, soft clothes, familiar things, the rabbit. I watched from the doorway as they led him out. He didn't look at me. He looked at her. I stepped between them. The courtroom was quiet when I testified, my voice steady, clear. I didn't describe pain. I described facts. He tried to bargain, to plead. No one listened. When the verdict came, I felt a release I hadn't expected. Not joy, clarity. Afterward, he tried to speak to me one last time, through a barrier, through glass. "I loved you," he said. I leaned close. "You loved control," I replied. And then I walked away. The house feels different now, lighter. My daughter hums as she paints. Blue skies, yellow suns. She is healing in ways I can't rush. Neither am I. Sometimes I think about the woman I was before, the one who believed love was enough to keep monsters out. She's gone. In her place is someone quieter, sharper. I lock the doors every night. I check the windows. And when I sleep, I don't dream. I rest, because the truth is no longer buried, and I will never again mistake silence for safety.